first quarter Texas Motorcycle Safety Coalition meeting on this nice frigid, for some people, December morning. And we appreciate those that came in person and braved the weather on their motorcycles. So we'll start with our welcomes and introductions. Unfortunately, most of you probably know me by now. Kathy Brooks, and I lead the project for the Texas Department of Transportation on our statewide motorist awareness and motorcyclist safety education and outreach support. And Laura.
Laura Higgins with TTI, work with Kathy on this and some other motorcycle safety projects.
If I can get into the viewpoint.
Get into the viewpoint. I'll move over. You can say hi.
Hi. Crystal O'Rear. I also work for TTI, and the main project that I utilize is the Unlicensed to Ride project.
Chet Roby, I am a rider coach for Texas Motorsports. As of this conversation, and starting next year, it will be MSU University.
Awesome.
Daniel Hernandez, we have a motorcycle tire shop in Austin. So we impact a big part of the community, especially with the young sport bike riders in Austin.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Thank you. And then online. We have some people putting their names in the chat. That's a great idea. If you online can put your name and where you're from on the chat, that would be most helpful.
I'll keep them from having to agree to turn everything.
And if you
come
don't,
in.
that will help as well. We have a pretty good, hopefully a pretty good full schedule this morning, so we'll go on with that. How many do we have online, Laura?
Currently, we just have 11 people online, which is lower than usual, but it could be that some people just haven't made it in yet.
Well, I want to welcome Lavisa from TxDOT in Amarillo.
Tracy from the Lubbock County Sheriff's Office. Thank you so much, Tracy. Scott Melring from who's rider coach from Mesquite and Bedford. Rain DeVries is online, motorcycle journalist in Dallas. Kate Johnson with Sherry Matthews. She works with TxDOT on the Look Twice for Motorcycles Traffic Safety Campaign. And Nina Saint is typing. So Nina is about to introduce herself. Glad to have you with us, Nina.
Safeway driver.
Safeway Driving in Houston.
We have like I said, we have a fairly full agenda today. Before we give Laura the safety minute and task force update. And then we want to get some information from you on share where we are on our safety forum planning for 2026, and then get some feedback from you on what you would like to see there. And then after the break, we'll do share some information on what other things are going on in Texas through TTI with motorcycle safety and countermeasures. So to start off, Crystal had a quick announcement this morning.
Yes, back to the Unlicensed to Ride project. One of the objectives is to survey riders before they go through a motorcycle safety course and then after they go through the course. And we solicit this every year. And this year we have, we've gotten TxDOT to agree to put the payment back up to $150, therefore making it more of an incentive to participate in the surveys. So you, any of the rider coaches out there that have schools, you will be receiving an email from me at some point here in probably the next month or so to start recruiting. Normally we don't start until March or April because that's when the warmer months are. And we're not expecting a lot of participation this early, but if you can pass that on, because like I said, we've gotten it to where it's more of an incentive this year instead of just the $40 that it was last year. So any help with that would be appreciated.
And the space is limited.
Yeah, we only have 26 spots for it because of the fact we increased the budget.
So jump on that. All right, thank you. All right. Laura, are you ready for?
I think so.
I'm gonna give the clicker to you because it came up with a blank circle.
Oh, well, hopefully,
The down arrow.
that is interesting because it was supposed to, show up with all of this plus
Bunch more.
a bunch more. So you'll get more narrative from me since this circle, which I created with labels and all the good things, turned up with absolutely nothing. So I wanted to do a quick safety minute about nighttime riding, since we have just, not too long ago, lost a lot of light in the evening with our, exit from daylight savings time for the year. So this blank circle, is actually showing this. This is showing fatal crashes in 2024. So the yellow part of the circle, which is on the right hand of the circle for anyone who maybe doesn't see color very well, that yellow wedge, which it represents about 45%, those were the number of fatal motorcycle crashes that happened in daylight. When you look at the total number of crashes at all injury levels, most of those happen in daylight, just for the reason that that's when most people are riding, is in daylight. But when you start getting more and more severe, you see a larger portion of fatal crashes happening when the light is low. So the little tiny wedge at the bottom of the circle is about 3% of fatal motorcycle crashes that happen at dawn or dusk, where the light's a little bit iffy. And then on the left side, that 50+% in the dark blue, those are the fatal crashes that happen at night. And so, no surprise for any of us, visibility for anyone on the road goes way down at night. If you're already a motorcycle that is a little bit harder to see for drivers anyway, you cut their light and it's going to get even worse. So the bullet points that were supposed to be on this slide, this is something new that PowerPoint's never done to me before. The bullet points that are supposed to be on this slide are just suggesting if you are going to be out riding after dark, or even in those hazy daylight, dawn or dusk hours, double check, make sure your front and rear lights are working. If you have any reflective clothing, or can just add reflective tape to your clothing, that makes you a little bit easier to see. And just even more so than that I know you already do in the daytime, if you are riding at night, assume the drivers have no idea you're there, and be extra vigilant. So there's my safety minute. Apologies. I swear when this was uploaded last night, there were all sorts of words on it.
And it's still showing on my screen too, that there's all kinds of words on it.
Yeah.
But thank you, Laura. And to add to that too, if you think about it, going through an intersection, your side view, most of your lights aren't being seen on a motorcycle. So any reflective thing or under glow lighting that you can put on your motorcycle, reflective tape on the side of your motorcycle, and as Laura mentioned, reflective anything that's on the side of your gear will help you in helping that. So, Rain, did I see your hand go up?
Yes, ma'am. Is on the talking about the lighting and drivers being able to see you from the side. Am I correct or incorrect in that blue lighting in particular it can be as I was explained to me, blue lights can be reflected off the chrome, but blue light cannot be actually broadcast out from the bike because of law enforcement.
I believe that's correct. I don't know for certain. If Kobe's on here, he might be able to help us answer that. But I know for side lighting, they usually want underglow lighting is what I've heard, but I don't know all the laws on that. We can definitely look into that and provide some more information.
That would be great, because I was just wanting clarification for that for ages, simply because, people go out there and the blue lights do look great, but, as it was explained to me, they have to be reflected off the chrome.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Rain. All right, what's up next?
Hello.
Something that doesn't work.
Okay, so hopefully it's just not. Okay.
Stand by. There we go.
There we go.
Task force update.
All right.
I don't think there's any, did you have slides for this one?
I don't know, I do not have slides for this one. I think since, I don't believe Maurice is on today, I can provide just a little, a short update. So the TMSC task force met for the first time, last month, for the year. And, started to discuss some of the possibilities of, initiatives to work on for this coming fiscal year. We got a bunch of good ideas. We put it out to the, have put out some of those ideas to the task force, and basically in a ballot to ask them to rank. I think we had 7 ideas, so we asked them to rank those from 1 to 7. So hopefully we will have results back. I think we've got results back from part of the task force, but not quite all yet. But within the next week or 2, we should have an idea of what the task force is likely to be working on for this year. In past years, the task force has some of the things they've helped us develop were outreach materials that were specifically geared towards being distributed at motorcycle dealerships. They've helped us with identifying high priority motorcycle safety issues that we have actually been, that was actually a couple of years ago. We've been starting to work our way through some of those. And so this year they are looking for their next focal point. So we should have that settled here in the next week or 2.
We were hoping to have it by today. So if we have task force members on there that haven't responded, please get the information back to us so we can help move that initiative forward.
Yes, I think actually all the ones that are on today have responded. So kudos to
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it much.
And also if there is anybody on the meeting today that is not sure what the task force is all about and you're interested in finding out more or being more involved in helping in moving initiatives forward, please drop your name in the chat, say you're interested, or you can email Laura or myself and we will definitely talk to you more about what the task force is all about and how you can be more engaged. So, any questions there? I think my remote died.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's stuck at the podium.
Maybe. All right. So our next topic was about the Motorcycle Safety Forum. We did get the date approved for April 11th to Saturday, and the area being somewhere between San Antonio, Austin area or Kerrville. Kerrville? Yes, Kerrville.
Yes.
We are currently looking at the San Marcos Embassy Suites location as we used a couple years ago. And that seemed to be a pretty popular place. So we're trying to see if that works for us again this year. But what we can use help from you is what are some of the topics that you're interested in? What are some of the things that have been going on that might pique your interest that we could incorporate into that? So this is open forum. Please share your thoughts. Someone shared blue lights on non-emergency vehicles are Covered in transportation code, blue lights cannot be flashing or alternating. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Tracy. And maybe just to kick off, because I know nothing's worse than being asked to come up with ideas out of the clear blue sky. For some of you who maybe have not even attended a motorcycle forum before, it's usually a day long. And what we try to do is have a number of presentations that kind of hit different aspects of motorcycle safety. So those could, in the past, so last year, some of our presentations, we had someone come out to basically give us a lot of really good technical information on motorcycle helmets and the types of safety features, kind of how they get graded and how they get the DOT certification and some of the other types of safety certifications. We had someone from the Stop the Bleed organization come and do a certification course for anyone wanting to learn how to do that type of emergency first aid. Let's see, who else did we have talk to us last year? We had one of our researchers who works in the area in a lot of automated vehicle research. She came out to talk about some of the standards and specifications that are being developed that could hopefully positively impact motorcycle safety on the road. But yeah, we've kind of done a whole range of things over the past few years. We try to find, if there are technical, things about new technologies or equipment that people are interested in. We try to find somebody to, who can speak to those. We look at, let's see, we had accident scene management has come out to do tutorials on some of the things to do if you are in a group ride or come upon a motorcycle accident. We try to, if there's research on laws or policies or anything like that is of interest. So we're really open to a bunch of ideas. It's like if we can make it happen, we will try to do that.
That includes anything that has to do with road engineering that impacts motorcycles. We've worked on that in the past and seeing some of how the design of the roadways and how it impacts motorcycles when they're not originally considered, the barriers and how those do. So we've had some of those come out as well. So anything that has to do with emergency response, engineering, design of the motorcycles, technology on the motorcycles, technology on the cars and how that may impact the motorcycles. Safety after, in things to prevent the crash. And then if the crash happens, what are some of the things that we can do to minimize the injury? So, we're thinking a little bit about, looking for speakers that come from out of state who can come and be guest speakers or keynote speakers. I have one in mind now, but I'm open that can either be a motorcycle, car, automated braking systems, technology testing results, or some of the future planning on what that organization does to reduce motorcycle fatalities and actually all roadway fatalities moving forward. Trying to hit that zero is kind of a big push all of a sudden.
It is.
So please keep thinking on it in the back of your mind. If you have any ideas, throw it in the chat during the meeting. If it's after the meeting, please feel free to drop it in either the contact us on the Look, Learn, Live website or email directly Laura or myself, and we will start putting that together because we are going to start doing that planning in earnest here right after
Yeah, we're gonna be kicking that off hard at the first of the year, looking to fill up a program, for the forum. And specific, if there's anyone, if there's anyone that you know of, specifically that speaks, works in motorcycle safety, or who, if there's someone that that you would like specifically to hear speak on something, let us know that as well. We're always basically always looking for ideas. And, whether it's a specific speaker or just a topic that you would like to hear about, that you think, hey, I've always wanted to know more about XYZ. Let us know and we will see what we can find.
We always try to have a little bit of an outdoor activity. I don't think we did last year.
I think last year was the first time in a while we didn't have an out, but yeah, several years
Yeah. We tried really hard and we were told no.
yes. I think it was
like being told no.
yeah, I think it was a location issue. I think they did not have the outdoor space for us. But yes, no, we have done some like sort of mini rider clinics before. Like I said, the accident scene management folks
Did a mini crash.
we set up a mini after crash scene a couple of years ago. So, but yeah, so we are on the hunt for ideas. Like we will work at coming up with some, but we always want your input.
And also we want to see more and more people that are coming to the forum. The forum is free. It does happen on a weekend because we found that most motorcyclists don't take off work. This is our community is much different than a lot of the other communities that are around in traffic safety. We aren't full of a bunch of professionals that are out there trying to stop people from drinking and driving, or, so we are unique to ourselves. So we need to kind of support ourselves as well. So if there's any way you can think of that can help us get the word out to more and more people about the forum. Our annual forum is something that has been talked about nationally, as we are one of the very few states that do anything like this. So help us spread the word and help us grow back to where we were pre-COVID in attendance at our forum. We really would truly appreciate that as well.
Speaking of the attendance, how many people can it handle?
We're doing at least 100.
So at least 100.
Yeah.
Is it in the 300, or is that's like not?
We haven't been over 100
Okay.
in a while.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah,
Pre-COVID, we had one that we were kind of bursting at the seams. And
Okay.
if I can get it back up to 100 to 125, and I will happily
Okay.
look for bigger places. But the places we're looking at, they have room for more. It's
Mhm.
just how many are we asking them to qualify?
Okay.
And we provide lunch and breaks and usually a continental breakfast as well.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So that's why we kind of that's where our numbers look at, because they're looking at how many people are we feeding.
Okay. Well, when's the deadline for that, or for the registration for free?
I've
Currently
been to the event. We usually try to close registration. Great questions, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you. We usually try to close registration about a week in advance because they have to have their numbers at the venue. So we'll probably close it down early April or end of March.
Okay.
And we will, like I said, we'll start getting it as soon as we have the venue locked in. We'll be opening up the registration and getting those notifications out to everybody.
Yeah, I don't see why shop owners wouldn't send somebody over. And if they knew about it and they knew it was free lunch, it's very incentive. It'd be easy to, hey, who wants to go represent, go and learn and talk to other people.
And something else that we've done is opened up for vendor space. So we'll have vendor tables available, and we did that the last couple of years, and we've started to get more people involved in that. So if somebody's interested, and we haven't charged for that either. So if you want to come and bring your tchotchkes and share some information, we had Cycle Gear came out last year. We also had Snell Foundation was one of our speakers, so they had stuff out there, and then TxDOT brought some of the Sherry Matthews shared road information. Accident Scene Management had some stuff out there as well. So yeah, we'll have about 6 vendor tables available if somebody's interested in that. And we'll also have our annual motorcycle safety awards program. If you're not familiar with that, we have 2 awards that we give out every year. That award nomination process has already been opened. The information's on the website under the awards tab. And we'll be pulling that closed probably the beginning of March so that our team can, and the task force can go through and evaluate the nominations and select our 2 winners, and we can get the awards ordered and be presented at the forum.
We do have, and thank you, Scott, we do have a suggestion on the chat. Have you ever seen a presentation on motorcycle skid bike? Ray Pierce and George Tart of the Missouri Motorcycle Safety Program present that and share about how motorcycle handles skids.
We have not seen that in Texas, to my knowledge. I wasn't sure who to contact about that, so thank you, Scott. I will reach out to Ray or George and find out what they can do. We'd likely see George come down if we can do that. Skid bike on here. I've thought about that, but like I said, I didn't know who was doing that anymore. Hadn't seen it in a couple of years. Thank you.
Excellent, yes.
Any other comments, questions?
Oh, I guess another one I was thinking of is you're gonna have multiple people come out for the 1-day event. Are those expected to be like hour-long per person who comes out? Or is it like, one person's gonna be a 4-hour, one person's gonna be a 1 hour?
Oh, in terms of all the speakers.
Like the speakers?
Yeah.
They're
It
like
goes-
1 hour or 30 minutes or?
The speakers are usually, the agenda has been, and on our website, you can see what the previous agendas have been. But we usually have an opening session with a keynote speaker, or sometimes our keynote speakers at lunchtime, depending on timing. So we have an opening general session, where we share information from the different agencies in the state, if they will come and share that information. And then we also have breakout sessions where we can do simultaneous or concurrent sessions on a couple of different topics. Then we break for lunch. We have some more concurrent sessions, and then we wrap up with a general session at the end in the award ceremony.
Okay. Plenty.
So it's a day long, usually goes from what? 9 o'clock
Nine
or so
in the
till
morning to maybe 4.
4 in the afternoon.
Very good.
Oh, yeah. I see, so the breakout session style, 2 things going on at once, get more, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes people are like, but I want to be in both sessions. I know, I've been there too.
Yeah, we go back and forth on the breakout session every year because, yeah.
Yeah, and if we can get enough topics, they usually run about 45 minutes
Okay.
each session. Great questions, thank you. I love it when somebody asks questions because you don't know, but other people out there probably don't know either.
Exactly.
We're really getting a lot of new people. Any other questions or comments on the forum?
And if you're like me and your comment comes later, so being new in Texas, what ways are TMSC messages being sent out to the general public?
So 2 ways. Primarily, if you've signed up be a part of the coalition, you get the constant contact emails that go out with this information. You've probably been pinged. I think I got pinged like 3 or 4 times. There's a reminder for this meeting. So we have the constant contact emails. If you're not seeing those, you've signed up and you're not seeing them, check your spam and also check where they're coming from. And so you can make that as one of your contacts, so they'll actually come to your inbox, or say that it's not junk so that they'll come to your inbox. The other way is by following us on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, X. That's all. Well, YouTube.
Well, yeah.
Follow us on one of those 3 channels, and we have announcements that go out through the social media as well, along with other tips. We have new content coming out every month on that. And we really appreciate those that comment, like, share. The more you share it to, the more people that see it. We don't have a huge following, so if you have a huge following on your social media and you share it with yours, that really helps spread the message out. And we appreciate everybody's efforts there.
And then additionally, we attend, currently it's about 3 events per year. Kathy's looking at potentially expanding that out in future years. But we attend, we usually try to hit at least one big motorcycle event a year and then a couple of what are called general public events to kind of to share the message with everyone else on the road too. But we have so far this year, we attended the Lone Star Rally in Galveston for, I think we've been going there for over a decade now, and hand out safety information materials there. And then some of the events that we typically go to kind of talk to the general public and deliver motorcycle safety stuff to motorcyclists, but also share the road and look twice messages to drivers are, things like the Poteet Strawberry Festival, the various home and garden shows that pop up in the larger cities,
RV shows.
Things like that. So any place that we can find where we can set up a little booth and hand out fun tchotchkes and useful information to people, we do that as well.
I think Lone Star Rally this year, we handed out a lot more coalition information and website information, follow us information than we have in the past. So we were very pleased with that. So Scott, being new to Texas, what? Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And we have a hand up.
We have a hand up. Where's our hand up?
Oh, it's Scott.
Scott, you want to chime in?
Well, I wanted to find out how, sounds great, all the things you're doing. I guess I'm just looking at the electronic billboards here. Are those part of the Texas Department of Transportation? Are they just individual stuff? How do you work with Texas Department of Transportation, if at all? I'm just asking these questions because, I ride to Mesquite and mostly my classes are early in the morning. So I'm usually night riding or early morning riding before the sun rises. Mm-hmm. And I go to Bedford and there's areas where I've seen some really great things that Texas Department of Transportation is doing, like repaving roads and how they have signs up and all that. And that's really great. And then I've seen other areas where there's no striping. There's areas that are dark. In areas I would think you'd want even car drivers having to put their brights on just to see through areas that are cornered or otherwise. There's things that I see that I'm like, and especially since it's a big city now, obviously being from Missouri, it's a little bit different in that respect. But I know that with the Missouri program, they do work with MoDOT on a lot of things. And I was just sort of curious how you guys interact with that.
So we do interact with TxDOT, and then the general public can also interact with TxDOT. So as far as the message boards go, Sherry Matthews group that works with TxDOT on the Look Twice for Motorcycles campaign in May, they provide some information for TxDOT on those messaging and those messaging boards. And I believe they also work with where to place those message boards. They're not necessarily always across the state. It's more in high priority areas that may even stay longer. I've seen them longer in some areas than others, where it's usually just the first 2 weeks of May. But we also, we work with a traffic safety specialist. There are behavioral traffic safety specialists within TxDOT, within the 25 districts in Texas. And we can share information with them. They work out of the engineering departments in each district. Each district has a district engineer. And they also have a way for the general public to say, hey, I see an issue with this road. If it's a road that is a numbered state highway, interstate, things like that, those are all come under TxDOT. If it's just a local surface road within your city, that was going to fall under your city. There are some surface roads that are outside of a city limit, but in a county that fall under the county. But you can reach out to TxDOT and they can let you know that falls under a different jurisdiction as well. Trying to remember how to do that on TxDOT. Maybe,
We can-
Anita, if you can
Oh, yeah.
give us a little input on that, that would be great. Trish?
Hi there. Sorry, it took me a moment to unmute, but you can go to text.gov, and what you want to do is either contact your local district office directly or the traffic operations or the traffic engineer, the traffic office at that district office. And you can report those concerns, or like, for example, if there's a specific intersection that may be dark or maybe rural or something, that's where you would report that to. And these are the types of concerns that are looked at, especially during our fatality review meetings and that sort of thing. Or if we have a hotspot of motorcycle activity, we can take those concerns into consideration and have discussion about it.
Thank you. I love our TxDOT partners that join our meetings
Yes.
and chime in.
Very, very helpful. And there, because I'm trying to come up with the title off the top of my head, I cannot, but I know that just, was it last year, the TxDOT highway design, roadway design manual was updated. And for the first time, I think for the first time ever, it has, was updated with some,
A whole chapter on,
a whole chapter on motorcycle, basically considerations for motorcycle safety within roadway design
and construction.
and construction.
Yeah.
So that, we
We finally got in the TxDOT design manual.
finally got in the design manual. And
It's only
there,
taken us what?
I don't know, there've been people who've been working on it within TxDOT, have been working on it for a very long time. And so that I think that has been within the last year that has happened.
About a year ago, we got the notice. It was right at the end of last year. So we truly appreciate TxDOT finally getting us in there. Thank you so much.
And and thanks, and thank you, Kate. Kate's here from Sherry Matthews. And so, for billboards, the Sherry Matthews Group specifically places billboards according to a heat map of motorcycle crashes across the state to ensure that they're placed in areas where the most crashes are taking place. So yes, thank you for that. And I'll say just as a kind of an overview for Scott and for anyone else who is kind of new to how motorcycle safety is handled in Texas. As Kathy said, it does come from a number of different places. There's the engineering angle, which is, like the design of roadways and intersections and barriers and all sorts of things that are part of kind of the physical environment. TxDOT has sort of two different streams of funding having to do with safety outreach. And one of those is paid media, so that's going to be your billboards, TV, radio, and Sherry Matthews, that company currently for a while now has held the contract for the paid media and has done a fantastic job. And then the Texas Motorcycle Safety Coalition, these meetings, and the events that Kathy and myself and some of our colleagues attend, and all of them, those materials that we develop here and distribute. That's a separate funding program that is focused specifically on non-paid media. So it's what you would consider like grassroots type stuff where instead of being on television, you're seeing somebody at an event and you're handing a brochure about looking twice for motorcycles. So that's kind of the three kind of major areas within TxDOT of how they're addressing motorcycle safety. Thank you for that question, because that's something that I think we tend to assume after we've been in it for a while that everyone knows what we know, which is very much, there's no reason to think that that's the case. So thanks for that question. I appreciate it.
And there is a TxDOT funding stream that also pays directly for motorcycle training courses and incentives,
Yes.
instructor training courses. So, but those types of funding streams go to like grassroots, non-paid. They go to nonprofits or universities, schools, things like that. So it's kind of limited to who can apply for those funds. Great questions.
Yes, thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Oh, I'm seeing, Scott, I see your hand is up. Is that up again or just still up from last time?
Up from last time, sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. All right.
What do we have next? Okay, be right back. As we talked earlier, there's a lot of different ways that motorcycle safety is being, oh, this is what I was supposed to do during the break. Change presentations.
Oh,
A lot of things, a lot of ways that motorcycle safety is being addressed in the state. And so, is that the right one? I want to share some of that information with you. So what I've listed up here is there's a project that I know questions have come up. It's like, can we do this? Can we do that? It's like TTI under this project, we kind of can't. And this is why. This is part of the Department of Licensing and Regulation. We have other projects with them, and when this came up, you can see we have a pretty good sized group that has contributed to some work on this project over the years. But please come up. Okay, yeah. So as some of you may know, the motorcycle safety training and education, the actual taking the course, fell under the Department of Public Safety, DPS, since its inception back in the 80s. And in 2019 legislative session, the DPS came under what they call a sunset review, where they review the programs that DPS is responsible for and find out if it's a good fit, financially viable, best way for the state, all that fun stuff. And in doing so, they decided that we're going to move the motorcycle safety training program administration from DPS to TDLR. And as part of that legislation, TTI was written in to provide motorcycle safety research, advocacy, and education to the public on motorcycle safety issues in the state of Texas. And since those are two different funding streams, we have to be very careful that we keep them separate. So when we first took this on back in it went into effect in September 1 of 2020. So in 2020, 2021, we started looking at what can we do to address some of the top motorcycle safety issues in the state and prioritize some of those and based on several factors, including what kind of is directly applicable to TDLR's role. What can we have the highest impact or potential for impact on funding, resources availability, and the time it would take. And we ranked those seeing that with a shortage of instructors, which wasn't only seen in Texas, but is also being seen across the country, that might be we start with the instructors. If we can find out and make sure we have a good, strong instructor corps and enough instructors to provide the courses. And then the next thing we can look at is getting students into the courses now that we have instructors to teach the courses. But there's also, since COVID, been where we've gone from about 37% of motorcycle fatalities were unlicensed riders or riders that didn't have the appropriate license for the vehicle or at the time of the crash, to after COVID, it jumping up over 50%. And so that's still one that we're looking at from both sides. But as Laura mentioned, TxDOT has a couple streams, and Crystal announced our Unlicensed to Ride project that's been going on, I think, since 2018, 2017, somewhere around there. that has been an incentive to get those unlicensed riders identified and incentivize them taking the course and getting their license. So that one kind of was a little lower priority. And then alcohol. And when I've talked to riders over the years, as I've been in this, working here at TTI, I always say impaired riding isn't a problem for motorcyclists. And if you look at the overall crashes that are involved, all injury types, where the motorcyclist was impaired by alcohol or other drugs, the percentage is low. It's in the single digits. But when you start looking at the serious injury crashes and the fatalities of riders that are impaired, you're up in the 70, 80, 90%, depending on what size of group you look at, whether you're looking at a district, TxDOT district or a county or statewide, it's still up 80% of those that are impaired in crash are either killed or seriously injured. So while it's maybe a small percentage of riders in general, it is still a major issue for riders that do so. And Laura had a project a couple of years that went on for a couple of years that the information is available on the Look Learn Live website under safety and under the resources to kind of encourage or come up with both a toolkit for people to use to try to come up with ways to discourage impaired riding. You can probably speak to it better than I can.
It was basically looking at, and it was based on a discussion that actually got started a number of years ago within a TMSC meeting. It was brought up by some of our members that said, we're telling motorcyclists, and this is just one example. It said, we're telling motorcyclists don't drink and ride, and yet so many motorcycle centric events, feature free beer or in some ways pair those two activities. And so the project that TxDOT funded for us for a couple of years, which we appreciate, we tried to put together a little bit of a toolkit of just ways, if whether you're an individual or if you're part of a motorcycle club or if you're a motorcycle dealership or whatever, it basically offered, here's some things that people have tried. And here's some things that have been successful in various places for kind of divorcing a little bit the culture of drinking from the culture of riding, or and not saying that that if you ride you should never drink a beer in your life. It's saying be mindful of when that drinking is happening. Be mindful if you have an event that has alcohol, that people have alternatives other than driving themselves home afterwards, things like that. So yeah, that toolkit is available on the Look, Learn, Live website, free download. We probably still have some we have some hard copies here that if you want a hard copy, more than happy to mail it to you. So yeah, that's one of the things we've done there.
And one of our keynote speakers at our forum a few years ago was our spokesperson, who was a survivor of a day after impaired crash. He was still impaired the next morning on his ride. And what his life has been like since that life-changing event. And his videos are also on the website, along with some little infographics, I guess we call them, that you can either use as part of a social media campaign or I'd really like to see them printed out on little paper coasters and put in some of these biker bars along the way. So it's like, you know what, just remember where you are and where you're headed. So anyway, that was another one that we chose not to focus on. So where we started, like I said, we started trying to look at instructor retention and recruitment, actually, and we just, that in first year ended up being just retention and then recruitment, student enrollment in classes, and then we continue to build on this. So everything we've done each year, we have been building on the previous year's work. And I'll go through a little bit more detail on what we've done and how the TMSC has influenced some of that work as well. So that first year we did increasing instructor, we were looking at both instructor recruitment and retention by doing a survey of instructors, both current and former, to get some of an idea of why they chose to become an instructor, why they chose to stay in the profession, or why they chose to leave the profession, and then use that information to create an education and outreach campaign. And some of these materials are all still available. And some of you may be familiar with them, with some of our instructor, couple of instructor recruitment cards with a lifelong learner. This is all information based on the analysis of that survey of the types of people or the factors that may help, may bring writers to make a decision to become instructors. So there was the lifelong learners, there's those that want to share the passion with others. And then we also looked at, even though in Texas, you're supposed to have a motorcycle license for 2 years before you are eligible to become an instructor. In the state of Texas, it is not for the national certification of courses, the core curriculum, but it is just a state-specific restriction. So we had this card that current instructors could pass out to students that they identify as, hey, you're the right kind of person, right kind of attitude, you have a good writing style, may even be a little bit ahead of the game. Think about keeping us in mind in the next 2 years to become instructors. I will kind of give you a little behind the scenes hint. The administrative rules that state is 2 years before you can become eligible to be an instructor will be coming up for review shortly. And they'll be looking for public comment on that. So the other one we did is the best practices for the schools, owners and managers of the schools that can help them, best practices for retaining the instructors they already have. So sharing some of the things that instructors said, I like this, or this helped me stay in, whether it was professional development or other. It was a 2-page front and back, or it was 1 page front and back. So it was 2 pages of ideas that can help them retain their instructors. And then we went on to dive a little deeper. Next year, we did a variation on the same survey, but this time we took it out to all writers. Any licensed writers, we did thousands of licensed writers through multiple, 3 different ways of reaching them through targeted surveys. I think it also came out through the TMSC to take the survey. And then we also had the events that we attended through this project, invited people to complete the survey. And that gave us a little bit more of an indication of why writers have chosen to become instructors. And that came into our more recruitment materials. So we came up with the best, the focus for, it's kind of interesting listening to the history of the Motorcycle Safety Foundation recently. But we found that those that enjoy teaching others would be a good fit. So we did an additional recruitment for legacy of learning. It was geared towards educators that currently ride. So we reached out to some of those and provided the, hey, if you're already an educator, you already are writing, find out about, are you interested in becoming instructors? We also expanded it out into a social media campaigns that happens through the Look, Learn, Live, which is this project. We did a newspaper article that came out, and we did a podcast, myself and Ford Strond from TDLR, did the podcast, and then Ford also did the news article. We also had the best practice guide for school owners that, hey, this is where you might want to recruit at. Here are some of the things you want to look for in a good candidate. So it helped them in identifying, interviewing, vetting. And then beyond that, okay, you've helped them, you think they're a good place, you're going to say, hey, why don't you go do this? You might be able to support them some financially. But then after the fact, what are you doing to continue to mentor them as they develop as a new instructor? So there was a best practice sheet for that went to the schools and school owners. And then we started focusing more as we continued the campaigns for the recruitment and retention of instructors. We started looking at how do we encourage writers to take the course. So we did another survey of writers to find out why they took the course or why they haven't taken the course, whether they're licensed or not. And that gave us some insights to develop that education and outreach to encourage writers to take the courses. And so we had some social media, was ramped up a little bit more, came up with several, taking the information from those surveys and some of the reasons why, and understanding that the community was one of this. I want to be better myself. It's another one. So there were several things that social media kind of branding, I guess we could say, that we went out and tried to encourage writers to take the training. We also developed a brochure that's not just focused on that novice or that entry level writing, but this is where are you on your journey? Because our writing is always a journey. Even as an instructor, when they're coming to my class, I'm like, I welcome you where you are on your journey, and I will try to meet you where you are and help you move forward. So it's like identifying where you are as a writer on your journey, whether you're just thinking about it. Do I want to do this? I mean, it looks kind of fun, but it's also scary. You know, where are you and how do you get into this? To, hey, I've been writing. I just got my new bike. What should I do here? Or I want to up my skills. So it's all the way around. But part of that was it's a trifold brochure, and the center back was customizable for schools, dealerships, whoever was going to present this. So they can tell us the information, we fill it out, we print them all out, and we forward them to whoever wanted that information to hand out to the public. That's encouraging our writers. And that same year, we also started developing a website. As our focus was on instructors and writers, that's where we started. So for the instructors, becoming an instructor, renewing your instructor information, and it provides the general information and checkoff steps, and then the links to where you can get the more detailed information, both for instructors and then for writers on getting their motorcycle license, taking their training, renewing their motorcycle license, because if you ever change your license or go into the licensing office to do something, you want to make sure that they keep checking that motorcycle box at the top, because their automatic thing is to check no. I've had to say, nah, change that more than once. So there's information there, and that is continuing to grow and expand. And so a lot of these resources that I've just shared with you are available under a resource page on the website. Some of them you can just download yourself and share on your own social media platforms. You can print them out if you want. If you want to order them, you can order them through us. Our next steps are kind of building that ordering platform. And it's all free materials. This is all funded through this project to help improve the rider safety in Texas. So that's texasridereducation.org is the webpage. Encourage folks to go take a look at that. So now that we kind of got those first few things off the ground and started, and we're kind of building on it, we want to build on it a little bit more. We did that first surveys of the instructors and the riders on why they want to become instructors or why they leave or stay. But it kind of just gave us the top high level look, and we want to look a little deeper and get some of the nuances and also incentivize riders to take the instructor training program. So we're developed a program, a research program for instructors, taking, working with them from before they become an instructor, before they take the course to become an instructor, after the course and through that first certification period, which is 2 years. So it's more of a longitudinal study of getting that deeper information. And we were able to begin data collection on that in the September 15th through the 24th course put on by RTFC Inc. And we have another one coming up here in February, into February, March, through, I don't want to say it wrong, Lone Star Bikers, up in the Louisville area, I believe. So we're looking forward to continuing that over the next 3 to 5 years and providing information back, both looking and speaking with the new instructors as students, as well as the instructor trainers that are putting on those. And hopefully we'll have a better understanding and better able to reach and encourage folks to take those courses. And then on the student side of it, trying to increase people to take the courses. We took a deeper dive based on our rider survey of why do I take a course or why I didn't take a course. They identified some high level barriers. So we dug a little deeper into that. We pulled a whole bunch of data from crashes, licensing, training, registration, citations, EMS locations. And so we did multiple analysis on this. And some of those researchers are smarter than me in the analytics department. They went in and looked at trying to create some of these, an algorithm that would take where are the high risk areas. So based on the number of crashes in an area, and we didn't look at where the crash was. This is one of the things that just drives me nuts, is we look at our crash data and it says, oh, all these crashes are happening in Ellis County. Well, where are the Three Sisters and who lives out there? And so you have these wonderful riding roads, but nobody lives out there. So the ones that are crashing on it don't live there. So we looked at not where the crashes were happening, but where do the people that are crashing live? So that was one of the things that we went back to. We didn't look at where the crash happened, but where does the rider reside? So that's what we're looking at here is where figuring this algorithm, it took into consideration the number of registered motorcycles in a particular county, the number of licensed riders, the number of licensed riders who had a citation or crash incident that lived there. Where are the training schools? And put it into 5 different like brackets to kind of do it. So that's where you have the really light to 0 colored to the darker colored or some of those higher risk counties. And then the little pin dots, if it's a teeny tiny, that means there's maybe one location. And we were looking at training locations, not just where the office is, but where the range location is. So where you are actually taking a course, because we have schools that may have 10 sites across the state. And we have schools that have their one. So that's showing where the locations are. So they took all this into account and they figured out where are some of the training deserts where there's no training around, where it's a high risk location. And where some of our priorities areas might be. And some of what they found was that not every unlicensed rider got a citation for being unlicensed if they were in a crash or if they were stopped. But they did see that unlicensed riders were 2 times more likely to be in a crash than those that were licensed. kind of makes sense in the state of Texas, since 2009, it's been required to take an entry-level motorcycle safety course in order to get your motorcycle license in the state. And that's been 17 years almost now. So that's got a lot of our riders are falling under that now. The hot spots that they hit, there were 3 counties that were really high, which were Maverick, which is Eagle Pass area, Angelina and Polk, which are kind of central East Texas, and then Bowie County was a little bit lower up in the northeast, Arkansas, Oklahoma, tri-state area. They did find that training had a 97% success rate across the state, looking at students' outcomes, which would indicate that training's good. We need to get more people being trained. But that outreach and enforcement and more training locations are recommended. Yes, Rain.
On this particular map of Texas, has anyone done an overlay of the Permian Basin to some of those high-risk areas in West Texas because of all the oil field workers that are out there?
It wasn't specifically just the Permian Basin. It was those other factors that were put in there. But
No, just out of curiosity, has anyone done an overlay map of the Permian Basin onto that section of Texas to see where there might start to be some correlations? I'm just shooting, arrows
Yeah,
out.
I don't know that anyone's done it specific to motorcycle. I know that we've got some colleagues who, because you're right, with all the kind of the oil and gas activity in the Permian Basin, it's pretty well known as a
high-risk area.
elevated risk area for traffic safety. But yeah, I don't know that there's been a motorcycle specific analysis done of that area. So that's an interesting idea.
And that one probably wouldn't correlate here, because that would be more of the crash location, not the
Not where they're
driver's
from.
home location. But yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And because another thing that's come up is people have said that a lot of the folks that are working out in the oil fields, they don't change their address on their license to the oil fields because they live somewhere else. They go out there for their 6 weeks, they go back.
Right.
Uh,
Because I
but
mean,
yeah.
there's like 400,000 workers out there. I'm thinking they got to blow out steam when they stop working at some point.
Mhm.
And they usually have some money in their pocket too, so.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll look at that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a good idea.
Any other questions? I don't remember if there was something else I want to say here. All right. So this is one that we just finished the study on. We just got the information and everything approved back from TDLR. So this whole report may be getting posted to the resource page as soon as we have the approval from TDLR to do that. So here's another place where the TMSC and task force has been instrumental in what we were able to do on this other side is motorcycle safety and driver education, both in the strategic action plan for motorcycles that the coalition for 2022 through 2027 helped create back in 22, and the task force in 2023 that identified some of those higher priorities initiatives was this driver education. And we put it in thought that this would be a really good fit with TDLR project, since TDLR also oversees the driver education and driver safety and education program at. So we work with them to try to look at what is currently available, what are some of the recommendations, and how are we doing currently? And so we did kind of a two approach. We looked at both curriculums. There's 4 different types of curriculums. There's the novice in-person driving school curriculum for teen drivers. There's the parent taught for teen drivers. There's the adult driver education for those that are 18 to 24, and then that's required by the state. And then there are the defensive driving for ticket adjudication or deferral, or just somebody that wants to take defensive driving and get better as they already have a license. So we compared all of those to the Texas Driver Handbook, which is kind of the baseline. We also reviewed the TDLR rules and administrative expectations is what needs to be in a curriculum for approval in the state. And to see what was being covered as far as motorcyclist safety and education. And we looked at this quantitative. We had several people, that's why that list of all the people involved was so big in the beginning, because we had a lot of people looking at 10 different curricula. And we had multiple people looking at each curricula to first see, are these things that we identified, ABS, lights and signals, protective gear, passing motorcycles, yielding the right way, all of those things that you see listed there. Were they included? Yes or no? And then to what degree? Was it just mentioned? Did they have additional talking points? Did they have, hey, go somewhere here and you can see something? So was it passive or was it compulsory to be covered? And you can see there some of the rankings of the combined rankings of all of the 10 curricula that were reviewed. And then we also talked with, we did a quantitative qualitative. We did anyway, I can never keep those two straight. We also talked to instructors and providers about these same things and how they would like to see if we produce something. What would they like to see that they would be able to implement easily into the curriculum time? So we got feedback from those that are actually doing the instructing or creating the curriculum in the state to say, hey, how can we help improve in these areas? And some of the recommendations that came out of there are listed there. So yes, some of the things were covered fairly well, over 50%, but they were just in like one little section, or they were mentioned just once or twice. And so it was like, how do we scatter it throughout the curriculum? So it's not just in one module. And then also taking it, even though it's mentioned that you share the road, which in the requirements of being in the curriculum, motorcycles are only in there in like to share the road. So share the road with other vehicles, such as including motorcycles. And so we were saying, how do we scatter this before, and how do we encourage those that are behind the wheel with that student, whether it's the parent or an instructor from a school that says, hey, when you're coming to the intersection, it's not just scan the intersection for other roadway users. It's thinking, where's the motorcycle? And help kind of ingraining that as well. Some of the visuals that were being used were very old, and so some of the reviewers said we might want to modernize some of those. We also did curriculum reviews in Spanish. We had a couple reviewers that were reviewing Spanish curriculum, and they said that it was more of a AI generated translations, so they didn't make sense to native speakers of Spanish. So they were saying that might be something that could be looked at as well. and making that more of a applicable, easily understandable. I think that's about all we did on that. So what we came out of this with, we have the full report of the findings that we had, that we provided to TDLR. We also created a presentation that we've asked to present to the Driver Education and Safety Advisory Council of TDLR. And so that request has been submitted. We were also asked by TDLR to work with Region 6 Education, who develops and helps with the mandatory professional development required by TDLR for driver education and safety instructors. So that is something that we're looking forward to doing in the future, so we can maybe create some of these things as well as educate the instructors on what they can do to help increase motorcycle awareness in the driver education and improve motorcyclist safety on the roadways with these new novice drivers. And that came from this body, the coalition and task force. So one thing we were able to do last minute this year too was to help support a professional development for instructors. We hope to be able to do this more in the future. For those instructors out there that have been around since before 2019, we used to have our annual conference. Everybody loved it, came in, had a really high, I think Cindy told me, Cindy Flores with our TFC, who is still working at DPS. She was one of the DPS, part of the Motorcycle Safety Administration there. She said, I think the last conference we had over 200 instructors at. She's been putting on professional development workshops, but was having to charge people to cover the cost. We were able to go in and cover those costs, so we provided it free to instructors, and almost doubled the attendance for this particular event in Killeen in October. So we appreciate everybody that was there, participated. TDLR was there, Motorcycle Safety Foundation was there. The instructors also provided both in classroom and on range workshops. So great success there. And that's what we've been able to do up to date so far. And looking forward, we're going to continue with the outreach and support, the website development, getting that better and better each year. Like I said, all the materials that we've developed are available. Let us know if you would like some. If you have a dealership, a shop, some venue related motorcyclists come in on, and you want to do one of the outreach brochures or recruitment cards, let us know. We'll be happy to send those to you. We might even have a couple of card display holders available as well. So we'll continue to do that through social media, the website, and printed material. We're going to continue with this longitudinal study for the next 3 to 5 years, and then continue to develop more on the barriers, try to get that word out more, try to come up with and support other incentive programs. Is there anything else that I'm not remembering?
I think I've covered most
I
of it.
think that covered most of it. So that's kind of what else has been going on in the motorcycle safety arena. And I leave it open to questions, comments, or suggestions.
We get a quick scan of, I'm not seeing any raised hands yet. Or new chat.
Okay. Well then, back to our regular scheduled program. So a couple of announcements we have. I didn't bring one up with me. The Look Twice for motorcycle yard signs are available again.
They are in,
How many do we have?
there's an enormous stack down in the simulator lab.
2 pallets worth, I think.
Yes. Many. We have many.
So
So
we truly appreciate the TCOCNI, Texas Council of Clubs and Independents, who's helped us in distribution over the years. This year, they could only distribute a small quantity, so we ended up with a huge quantity. Last year, with our small quantity, I spent an entire weekend driving all over the state, delivering. Trying not to do that again.
we think we figured out a mailing scheme that will work a little bit better. But yes, so if anyone, if you want any signs, if you're part of an organization that wants signs, let Kathy or myself know, and
We'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out. We think we've got boxes that that will send
10, maybe 12.
yeah, 10 to 12 in a box. We can always send multiple boxes if you need a bunch, or depending, basically we'll figure it out depending on where you are. If you are, close enough that that you want to come pick up, we can arrange that. If we're going to be at an event, say the Motorcycle Safety Forum, and you are also going to be at that event and would like to do a exchange there, we can definitely make that happen. So.
And we are planning to do an event in Austin and in Rockport, Fulton. So we'll have some available there, but you'll have to tell us in advance.
Yep, so we can bring them
those
in.
events, so we can make sure to throw them in the truck. If you want a huge quantity, some people were ordering 100 of them at a time last year. If you want a huge quantity like that, let us know. We'll figure something out.
Where would, is there an easy way to know where you can place them? Like what's legal, what's not?
It is legal to put them on private property
Right.
with the owner's permission.
So your property should be good, no matter where.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's your own property, that should be fine. So yeah, typically and I know we've got a couple of TxDOT people on here. My understanding is please nothing in roadway right of ways, because TxDOT's own, that in itself can create a safety hazard. So TxDOT, needs to keep the right of way to the side of public roads clear. But yeah, no, as far as any property you own or any property where you've gotten permission from the owner, can be
So
used.
not between the sidewalk and the road, but from the sidewalk over usually is good.
Okay.
Yeah, we see the signs all the time of we'll buy your house, we'll do, all those other that are just right there, that they'll go through and pick those up, but unless we have a TxDOT person that can give us any more clarification on that. All our TxDOT persons left. But yes, please, and if we really want to make it diminish the size of that. The other announcement is, as we mentioned during the forum, the Safety 2026 Safety Awards nominations survey has been open. We sent out a notification through the email as well as through social media, I believe earlier. We'll continue to kind of do the countdown on that. So if you know of anybody within your area, club, group that kind of goes above and beyond and is really wants to share that message and actively encourage motorcyclist safety in some way or another, please nominate those. We keep some of the nominations. If they're not selected one year, we'll keep them over the next year, maybe 2, depending on the number of nominations we have come in. So that they may still be available, eligible on a following year, but very much want to find out those folks that are out there doing things that we aren't aware of and recognize them for their efforts. Those are the only ones that we had up there.
Okay, does anyone on the call have any announcements for anything going on locally in having to do with motorcycles?
I would,
So
Mhm.
at the beginning, there was a mention of the, I guess, the spots. It went from $40 to $150 for the, to get your license. Is that going to be, when is that going to be available, or how is that going to be dispersed?
the unlicensed to ride, to be able to take those pre-course and post-course surveys. She said probably around April. Right now, we're still submitting all the information for approval because it's
So still.
research, not approved.
April, though.
Yeah.
Or April was when we'll try.
And we'll push that announcement, I'm guessing we can push that announcement out through the mailing list and things when that's ready to
Okay.
go
ready to
out.
roll.
And she sends out an email to the school owners as well. And then we also post the information to the Look, Learn, Live website under safety. There's one that's called Unlicensed to Ride tab within the safety area. And that it'll have the information there as well with updated FAQs. Right now, the information is old. I think we just reviewed that last month to try to get that starting, to get that updated. And it only goes through July. I don't remember if it's the mid or end of July. So there's just that short window that it's open.
I think they're trying to hit one of the busiest training times of the year when quite a few
Yeah.
people are gonna be kind of beginning late spring, early summer, looking to get their motorcycle license.
Right. And like I said, there's 26 spots that are available. You have to have been 18 years or older, fluent in English, have enrolled in a course, but not have started the in-person part. So it has to be before. And you send in an application, you follow to do an application for it, and you have to get approval for that application and then be able to complete the survey before the class. So don't wait till the night before your class to apply because you won't get it. So give us at least a week or two to plan ahead, plan ahead. It's always nice to plan ahead.
26 should go quick, I think.
Hopefully.
I would think so.
It's funny because we worked with Crystal for a number of years and with her colleagues that do it, and it is funny some years where it's like it's like pulling teeth to get people
Wow.
to sign on for it. And so yeah, it's like we're looking to give away money, people.
Yeah. I think
So
last
hopefully-
year it was really low.
Last year it was really low, and it's always, and we understand, it's like TxDOT's always trying to make the best, they're trying to make the best possible use of funding, because, they're reporting it up to the feds and everything else. And so I think they started kind of lowering the amount to be able to do more people, but then the argument that we were making, which I think was finally successful, was it's like, if you make it sort of an insignificant amount of money, that's not enough to grab people's interest. So it's like, if you up it a little bit more, we'll actually get the data, hopefully get the data that we're looking for.
Yeah, 150 is enticing. I mean, that's
Yeah.
half the cost,
Yep.
if
Yeah.
not more than half the cost of most. So.
Yeah, so that's,
And that was what we were trying to say is that, when the course costs anywhere from $250 to over $300,
Yeah.
$40 is
nominal, yeah.
it really worth my time? Where if we want to incentivize people to do something, we need to give them something worth it. So, yeah.
All right.
Anybody else? Hopefully we didn't put you all to sleep with my awful monotone this morning. Not to mention I can't breathe. I have no idea what's in the air up here.
Oh, College Station special. We have all the allergens here.
I think I gotta put on my next list of allergy meds when I go to
Yeah.
Brian.
Any final final announcements, questions, suggestions? And if you're anything like me and you think of something as soon as the call ends, no worries. Feel free to, to contact us and we'll add it. We'll add it into the meeting notes. All right.
Well, we thank you all for your time, attention, and participation, and we'll be posting the meeting information to the website within the next week. So, thank you. Everybody have a safe and happy holiday. Happy New Year, and we'll be back with more.
Yes.
Thanks, Kathy and Laura. Get to feeling better and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Nina.